I'm Nancy Lublin.
I'm Bob Filbin.
And we're the co-founders of Crisis Text Line, which is 24/7 mental health and behavioral health support on your fingertips, on your phone, through text and messenger in the US, UK, Ireland, and Canada. So these guys sent us a bunch of questions for us to ask. So the first question is, how big is it, Bob?
So we're over 150 million messages globally, 4 countries, and then 27,000 volunteer crisis counselors trained in empathy.
I love that you didn't talk about budget. Sometimes when people ask, how big are you in the not-for-profit sector, they want to know about money. It's like I was going to compare it to asking a how big is something else question that doesn't matter, but you know what I mean. Okay, so yeah. What are the things that we've learned in 2019 was another question asked. And so I think the biggest learning that I took away from 2019 was all the stuff that we did around Always Ask.
Yes.
Yeah, so we tested, should we ask in every conversation? Should we risk assess in every conversation? In other words, should we see in every conversation, even if you're just texting in about homework or a first crush on someone, should we risk assess if you are in imminent risk for suicide or homicide? And so we looked, we designed experiments and we looked, and it turns out, yeah, we should, that it's never harmful or suggestive to ask. The key is when you ask and how you ask. So when you ask, we discovered that it's somewhere between message 3 and message 20. So ask early in the conversation. And how you ask, there are 2 components to it. One is you start with an expression of care. So I really care about you. You sound like an amazing person. Or it sounds like a lot of people in your life depend on you. So I need to ask. And then ask directly, but not with the word suicide. Ask, are you thinking about death and dying? Are you thinking about killing yourself? And so we rolled out that policy, Always Ask, first as a policy, and we saw a wonderful impact. And then we productized it. Because if you really want people to do something, don't ask them to do it. Make it impossible for them to do it any other way. So we productized it by building in an automated reminder into our conversations, a toggle box that they checked when that happened. I mean, we've really reinforced it. And we think it actually might have had a little bit of an impact on an increase in our satisfaction rating in 2019, which is pretty cool and was kind of counterintuitive. We knew it was important and the right thing to do, but I don't think we thought it was going to be rewarded in an NPS. That was kind of cool. Okay, what's next?
So what's next? Well, what's now, I would say. So we're focused on coronavirus right now. We're in a unique moment, and Crisis Text Line is actually uniquely positioned to respond to this. We are, I think, the only crisis center that I know of that it has a distributed volunteer network, meaning people are volunteering from home. So a lot of other centers are require people to come into the office, and that is uniquely difficult in this time if the offices have to close down or limit hours. So we are here and ready to respond. We're already seeing a lot more conversations mentioning coronavirus, and some of the downstream effects of that, like anxiety. So we've seen it jump from around 33% of our conversations mentioning anxiety to now over 40%. Anxiety is on the rise, and we're here to respond.
And I saw this morning on the chart that you shared that the mention of the word virus, which does spike every winter, I noticed that, is up 10x.
Yes, and still trending up. I think we're still at the bottom.
And another question they asked was about lessons for social entrepreneurs. So what lessons, you're a founder now, what lessons do you have for social entrepreneurs?
Yeah, I would say one of the big learnings was start with data, don't add it in later. So being able to start with it allows you to make that data cheap and easy to collect. It comes in automatically. That's what we're doing now, which allows us to free up our resources. So most organizations that get involved in data spend about 90% of their time on data collection. We've been able to flip that to putting about 90% of our resources now into analyzing and pulling insights from the data. So start that data early, automate it, and focus on insights.
Great. I would say I've got 2 big learnings. One is to start with the user, not with the funder. I think people think that they're supposed to start with like a business plan or by raising a lot of money. And we've always started stuff and worked on stuff by being focused on real people. Don't solve something because you want to solve it because somebody needs it. And the other thing would be having courage, just the importance of courage. We roll out annual values here, and this year our values are kindness, courage, and operational excellence. And courage is just really key for startup life. Saying yes to things, trying new things, saying no to things, and having the courage to change things, even things that are popular. Courage really matters. So the last question they had was they wanted me to talk about funders, but I think we've already gone on too long, and apparently we're supposed to kick to Reid. The only thing between you hearing from Reid Hoffman is us. So I think we should do that. So we worship at the feet of Reid Hoffman. We love everything that he writes. I think I've listened to every single episode of Masters of Scale. I don't know about you. Yeah, exactly. Blitz scaling is just fantastic, not only because it's all about get as big as you can as fast as you can, but really because it's all about network effects, which I think is really key, especially for not-for-profits. And I feel lucky because I've had the benefit of Reid's counsel for 15 years. I think I'm one of the first 500 signed up for LinkedIn. I've known Reid for a really long time. And besides being one of our most important funders and a really important thinker who we learn so much from, like his rules of data that we talk about here all the time.
All the time, yeah.
All the time. 2 rules of data. Should we do these really quick?
Yep.
Yeah, 2 rules of data is never ask anybody for something that you can find out another way. Like, don't ask them for data that you could get otherwise, and don't ask them for something that you're not going to use. You have to make it feel valuable to them. Anyway, we cite that all the time, Reid. But the other thing I was going to just say about him is that he's a good person, and that's pretty rare. And it's especially rare in like a Silicon Valley giant. Most of the people out there who've made a lot of money just seem to be caring about making more of it, and he's one of the only examples of a good guy who won. And I don't know, we're really proud to consider him a friend. So I'm jealous that we're not there. Thank you.
Thanks.